Chromatic notes are something that I think can be very easily misunderstood, especially in jazz, where some people might think, oh, well, this is jazz, right? And no, that's not jazz. That's not anything. Chromatic notes are essentially bridges. They're tiny little bridges. I wouldn't even call them bridges. They're like steps, little stepping stones to get across from one side of the creek to the other. And that creek on either side exists diatonic notes. Jazz can be broken down into pop music, really. You can take the key of G major and take a note and another note, and those are actually the same notes, the major third of G. But to get between those notes, you can choose diatonic notes, so something like this. But adding chromatic notes will give you stepping stones to reach that same point. Now, it's up to you to make it convincing that you meant to step on those stepping stones. Otherwise, you'll get that. So we want to first establish target notes. Establishing those target notes is as simple as identifying which key you're in this case, G major. So where's the G major scale up in this position? Looks like we have access to this Mixolydian mode. So we can draw from that and come up with a phrase just like that. Doesn't have to be this one. Maybe we want to change it up to E minor, and that's just an example. Maybe we want to change to like E minor. And we could take that same exact phrase, and again, I think using your ear, that might have been too much chromaticism, not quite convincing, right? So maybe take a couple of those chromatic notes out. So there's a lot of ways to not sound good using chromatics, so you want to be really careful when you're integrating this into your guitar playing. And of course, this is kind of a jazz blues context, but it always comes back to the voicings to sound jazzy if you want to. So to clarify this topic, understand the major scale, and that will help you learn what notes to target depending on which chords you're playing over. Of course, I'm just picking a basic 5 to 1 change, but no matter what chord changes are in front of you, you're always going to be able to identify at least some type of major key, and that will allow you to identify major key notes or different modes, and from there it's a matter of the stylings, the jazz stylings that I've come back to in other lessons, where you have to really get a feel for the music, and from there it'll kind of reveal itself where these chromatic notes will fit. And depending on how convincing you are, you can really deliver some crazy chromatic stuff as long as you land in the right spots on the right times in the measure, whether the chords are happening or not. Being conscious of what your melody is doing to the harmony is something that takes a little time to develop, but the good news is your ear will always tell you when it's not correct. So if I have a chord, it's going to tell me that this note is not good. This note is not good, but I was not hanging on that note for too long, right? As long as I wasn't too far in the weeds on that note, giving it too much attention, but more of a stepping stone from one melody to the next, it works. I hope this was a helpful lesson for you guys on chromaticism and implanting chromatic notes in your phrasing. And until next time, keep shredding.